Snapchat is more popular than ever. The platform now boasts over 400 million daily active users, and this is despite the fact that the app has been declared dead multiple times, no matter where it's a dog filter, self-deleting images, or the story function. Snapchat has changed the way we use social media forever. The thing is, while Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook have grown into real money printing machines, Snapchat has not yet earned a single penny so far. How can that be? In this video, we'll tell you the wild story of Snapchat and why, surprisingly, we users are the ones responsible for turning the app into a multi-billion-dollar money grave. Let's go! Number 1. The Saga of Snapchat, from zero to self-hero. Way back in 2011, Snapchat's story begins in sunny California. In some college dorm room, probably not this exact one, but one just like it. Back in those college days, there lived a man who would shape our history forever. And there he is, right here, Evan Spiegel, right in the middle of his studies at Stanford University, one of the most famous universities in the world and renowned for birthing tech giants like Netflix, Google, and Nvidia. Out of the blue, his buddy Reggie Brown pops into his room. Reggie tells him about his ideas, an app that allows you to send pictures that are deleted again after a brief time. And Evan, being Evan, is apparently convinced right off the bat that what his buddy Reggie is pitching is $1 million idea. The first thing is, neither of them can program. That's why they bought their friend Bobby Murphy to the start, a young computer science and mathematics student who has coding in his blood. The trio is now complete. All three of them are just out of their teens, hovering around 20 years old at this point. Little do they know, two of them will soon become billionaires and one will not. The boys immediately dive into their project, and within a few short weeks, the first prototype of their app is ready. They name it Peekaboo, but alas, it turns out that the name's already taken by a telephone bookmaker. So they put their heads together and the choice falls on Snapchat. Spiegel, with the prototype in hand, decides to showcase their creation not to his fellow students, but to a group of eager investors at a Stanford event. It might sound pretty wild for your average student, but hey, that's just everyday life at Stanford. After all, the university sits right on the doorstep of Silicon Valley, where Evan wraps up his presentation. Those present have two burning questions in mind. The first is, who the hell needs an app that instantly deletes pictures? And second is, did this guy just present us with a sexting app? So, you know. On July 13th, 2011, they uploaded the app to the App Store anyway, and shortly after, cracks start to form within the founding trio. Evan and Bobby grind away like there's no tomorrow, while Reggie parties like there's no end in sight. Rumor has it that the two workhorses end up kicking the idea guy out of the company. It's the beginning of a real mudslinging match, but little did anyone know at the time that this beef would eventually involve hundreds of millions of dollars. By the end of the summer, the app barely manages to snag 127 downloads. Evan and Bobby are on the brisk of calling it quits once again. But just when they're about to throw in the towel, Evan Spiegel's cousin swoops in and turns everything upside down. When Spiegel and Murphy looked at the download numbers one fateful morning in the fall of 2011, they could hardly believe their eyes. Suddenly, something is happening in the App Store. Suddenly, there's a buzz in the App Store. Little did they know, almost all of the downloads were coming from a school in Orange County, a place that screams Beverly Hills vibes in the United States. It turns out, when Facebook, the go-to messenger among people at the time, was banned at school, one student had a solution. Her cousin had just developed an app that allows you to send pictures that can be deleted on their own. Yeah, I'll put it this way, Evan Spiegel's cousin would have definitely made one heck of an influencer. Shortly after, the app spread like wildfire throughout the school. Within just 2 days, Snapchat had been downloaded over 1,000 times, and the word kept on spreading. First to neighboring schools, then across California. By April 2012, the app boasted 100,000 users. By then it was clear, Snapchat could become something huge. And it wasn't just the students taking notice. An influential figure had been keeping a close eye on the app for quite some time. In November 2012, Evan Spiegel received an email. This email, none other than Mark Zuckerberg himself, the founder and mastermind behind of Facebook. Just a few weeks later, the two Snapchat founders are sitting at a table with Zuckerberg. But here's the twist. Zuckerberg doesn't beat around the bush. He wants to buy Snapchat, plain and simple. Zuckerberg doesn't even bother throwing out a specific amount for the purchase. Spiegel and Murphy, though, aren't swayed by the vague offer and promptly reject it, but Zuckerberg had a card up his sleeve. Before they can even think about leaving, he unveils a prototype of what's essentially a Snapchat clone, dubbed Poke. The message is clear: either you go with us or we will destroy you. Prepare to be squashed. Spiegel's first official move post-meeting? He buys the entire Snapchat workforce. This book, The Tales of War, a tome delving into the timeless wisdom of Chinese warfare tactics. This classic text has inspired countless leaders and strategists throughout history. Okay, Snapchat only had 6 employees at the time, but hey, details, right? Winter of 2012 rolls around. Snapchat declares an all-out war on Facebook, and not long after, Spiegel launched his first attack. In February 2013, Snapchat unveils a game-changing feature. Now users can upload pictures or videos that remain online for up to 24 hours after posting. This innovation transforms the platform, allowing users to not only share individual disappearing moments, but also weave together stories from multiple perspectives throughout the day. Its name? Snapchat Stories. No spoiler here, but let's just say that the introduction of the Stories feature will indeed shake up the industry. But first, it takes Snapchat's business to new heights. By the end of 2014, Snapchat boasts over 70 million daily active users. When Zuckerberg catches wind to this, he pulls the plug on his Snapchat clone Poke. Despite a promising start, it's a total flop. So Zuckerberg comes knocking with a new offer for Snapchat, a cool $3 billion. To put that in perspective, he'd only offered $1 billion for Instagram just a year earlier. When the news breaks, it's met with disbelief. After all, Snapchat hadn't turned a profit yet. Even crazier to many, Spiegel and Murphy turned down the offer, leaving hundreds of millions of dollars on the table for each of them. It sounds risky, but in hindsight, it's the right call. In the fall of 2015, Snapchat once again shakes things up with a fresh idea. On Snapchat, there are endless ways to get creative. The platform's filters become the stuff of legend. Just a few years ago, it seemed like everyone's motto was no selfie without dog ears. Snapchat is an app that anyone can use with a good filter. Okay, next. With the technology behind it called lenses, Snapchat is bringing a new level of innovation to social networks, and that means all these features are quintessentially Snapchat. Take, for instance, the personalized filters that make you feel like your place has its own special touch. I don't know about you, but I still look pretty damn similar to my personal avatar, Bitmoji today, and let's not forget about those famous Snapchat streaks. Okay, you can see that all these are really nice gimmicks that aren't exactly mind-blowing, but they sure are a lot of fun. And fun is always a good thing. In the winter of 2015, Snapchat soared past the 100 million daily user milestone. A good year later, the time has come. Snap Inc. Snap Inc.'s initial public offering marked one of the largest of the last decade. On the first day of trading, the company's value climbed to nearly $30 billion. At just 26 and 27 years old, Spiegel and Murphy found themselves suddenly $5 billion richer each. Only one person doesn't benefit from the crazy rise: Reggie Brown. After a falling out, Spiegel and Murphy kicked him out of the team. Reggie was the one who came up with the idea for Snapchat in the first place. Understandably, miffed by his former buddy's success, Reggie took them to court for damages, kicking off a month-long legal battle that ended with Reggie getting $158 million. Number 2. Instagram strikes back. Fast forward to spring 2017. With 166 million daily active users, Snapchat is riding high on its success. But one man just can't stand to see Snapchat take the spotlight. Who that is? That's right, Mark Zuckerberg. He recently copied Snapchat's most popular feature, almost down to the last detail. More and more users are ditching Snapchat in favor of Instagram for their daily stories. Check out this graphic here. Instagram Stories. They launched in autumn 2016. Just a few months later, Snapchat has clearly overtaken Snapchat. Meanwhile, Snapchat continues to struggle financially. In 2017, the app simply lost $3.4 billion. Part of the reason for this is Evan Spiegel's withdrawal of Snapchat shares worth almost $640 million from the company that year. The belief that Snapchat will eventually turn a profit remains a significant gamble on the future. And to win this gamble, Spiegel is putting all his chips in one key factor above all else: The power of fun reigns supreme, as you might expect. Up until now, Snapchat has prioritized product over profit, and Spiegel has consistently delivered stellar results. However, in this challenging phase, Snapchat makes a major misstep for the first time. As of January 2018, Snapchat has 191 million daily active users. However, when they roll out an app update, many of them are pissed off. The new layout is one thing above all else, super confusing. More than 1 million people sign a petition demanding that the app revert to its original design. Investors begin to sound the alarm bells, especially when you see this tweet from Kylie Jenner on February 21, 2018 at 10:50 a.m. Shortly after, Snap's market value simply fell by $1.3 billion. The downturn serves as a clear indication that Snapchat is losing its foothold in 2018. For a good reason, Insta has not only borrowed the stories from Snapchat, but has also introduced the direct message function, augmented reality filters, and even self-deleting images. And what about Snapchat users? In the battle with Instagram, Snapchat is lacking a new killer feature that could make all the difference. Then in 2018, it happened for the first time in Snapchat's history. The number of daily active users started to decline. While the decrease may seem relatively minor, take a look at how Instagram's numbers have developed. In the same period, they broke the sound barrier, reaching over 1 billion users. Spiegel and Murphy realized that in order to stay relevant, they urgently need to change something. This time, it's not about introducing fun features like dog ears or avatars. It's time for something more fundamental. Number 3. Setting sail into the new worlds. When Spiegel and Murphy launched the first version of Snapchat back in 2011, it was exclusively available on the iPhone. Sounds a bit crazy, but surprisingly, not much changed until 2018. Despite Snapchat's evolution into a billion-dollar company, Spiegel and his team never prioritized a proper Android app. Until then, it was plagued with bugs and constant crashes. In 2018, however, Apple accounted for only 18% of all smartphones sold worldwide. Since expensive iPhones were primarily sold in Europe and North America, Snapchat's user base was largely confined to these regions. In spring 2019, the company published this short video on Twitter to address the issue. A success of this move is overwhelming. Now, let's break down the user number in a little more detail. Here you can see how the number of Snapchat users have evolved in Europe and North America. As you can see from the gradually rising curve that the number have been stagnating for years. Now, take a look at how many Snapchat users in the rest of the world have joined in. Since the Android relaunch in 2019, they've experienced a surge, quadrupling from almost 50 million to over 200 million users. And that meant the overall user numbers went through the roof. However, there is a catch. Unlike Instagram and TikTok, Snapchat is still a gigantic grave of billions. They simply make massive losses each year, with last year alone seeing a loss of over $1 billion. Since its inception in 2011, the total losses have climbed to a staggering $11.7 billion. We'll now get to how this can be the case. Number 4. Money, money, money. How do social networks make money? Advertising, of course. Last year alone, Snapchat raked in around $4.5 billion from advertising. It sounds like a lot initially, but when you compare it to the overall market, it's actually quite modest. In 2023, the social media advertising market hit a whopping $207 billion. That's a massive cake, but its slices are distributed unevenly. Take a look at this. Meta alone earns over 60% of its revenue from Facebook and Instagram, followed by YouTube and TikTok. Snapchat trails behind with just 2.2%. Why is that? Well, you can roughly divide these apps into two categories. On one hand, you have what we'll call irrigation media. These include Instagram, Facebook, and more notably, TikTok. You're probably familiar with this. You might find yourself spending hours scrolling through your For You page on TikTok or your Instagram feed. On average, users spend about 60 minutes a day on Instagram and over 100 minutes on TikTok. That's a significant amount of time during which users can be exposed to advertising. Things are different with apps like Snapchat. The average screen time there is only 19 minutes a day. This is because users typically only open the app when they receive a notification. Similar to WhatsApp, Telegram, or WeChat, Snapchat is primarily a messenger app. This means that Snapchat has significantly less time than Instagram and TikTok to show users advertising. And that leads to some pretty crazy statistics. With each monthly active customer, Snapchat generates around $6 in revenue per year. On TikTok, it's almost $11, and on Instagram, it's just $25. Specifically, this means that each Instagram customer generates approximately the same revenue as 4 Snapchat customers. Alright, let's pause for a moment. When it comes to business, Spiegel had undoubtedly lost the battle with Zuckerberg. And as of now, it doesn't seem like anything will change that quickly. But at least Snapchat still has these little gems here. It sounds crazy, but these iconic dog ears could save Snapchat now. Number 5. Will Snapchat make a comeback? Absolutely. Dog ears might seem like just a silly feature today, but surprisingly, Snapchat could soon capitalize on them. Thanks to them, Snapchat has amassed years of experience in augmented reality, and it's precisely this technology that Snapchat is now seeking to monetize. And voila! Did you catch that? Companies can now promote their products using Snapchat filters, whether it's shoes or watches. Thanks to the technology that brought us dog ears, users can now virtually try on all sorts of things and then make direct purchases within the app. In the long term, Snapchat aims to evolve beyond just a social media platform to become a full-fledged e-commerce platform. However, whether this ambitious plan will succeed remains to be seen. E-commerce market researchers have long predicted that augmented reality could be the next big thing for online retail. But as of now, this transformation hasn't occurred, and even if it does, it's difficult for me to imagine that e-commerce, of all things, can now turn things around for Snapchat. Because, let's be honest, for many users, Snapchat is primarily a fun app, not a shopping app. So that's the Snapchat story. Now, I'm curious, do you still use Snapchat? And if you do, what keeps you coming back? Leave a comment below and let me know. That's it for now. Bye!